You sure you're ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best. Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois, Nikki Soup and Sausage on the ones and the twos and the buttons, all that good stuff. We're here. It's a live episode. It's a call-in special, Jared. Way to properly designate this program. This is all about the people.
Y'all better do your part.
Yeah, you got to call us up at 717-727-BEST and tell us what your thoughts are. Maybe you have thoughts on Major League Soccer and what went down over the last, 4 or 5. This is the thing, Jared, because of the shutdown, because of the schedule, because nobody's going to be in the stadium anyway, it's basically like games every day. How do you feel about games every day?
It's not much different than MLS is back, right? We had games
just
about every day. Yeah, the biggest, weirdest thing for me was I almost missed the Galaxy game because who in LA plays at 3 p.m. on a weekend? Like, it was weird that we had a 3 p.m. kickoff in the middle of a 105-degree day. I took it for granted that it would be 7 o'clock or noon. Those are the only times we play on Saturdays.
Yeah. Well, so this is, and I think somebody in our Patreon Slack, ding, 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 if you want to join up and talk to us and complain about things and tell us about your whiskey collection or what else, music, you want to share your music, all this stuff.
Your hot playlist.
Your hot playlist. Patreon.com/JD and the Rod. But somebody in the Slack was saying something about how hard it is to watch MLS right now. Now, I imagine what they're saying is, who knows where the game
quality of play?
Who knows? Maybe that's what it was. Do you think that's what it was? The quality
I don't
of play?
think that's what it was, but it's possible.
Okay. I think what it is like you said with LA, with the Galaxy and LAFC, who knows when these games are happening?
Yeah.
Who knows what channel they're on if you're not in market? Who knows what channel on there if you are in market in some cases? I mean, I think Seattle just signed a deal with Amazon Prime, Jared. So, who knows where any of this stuff is at this point? And maybe that's just a function of the pandemic or whatever, but it's certainly frustrating.
Yeah, it's kind of like what is it? I think citizenship is hard. That's how it is with MLS right now. You want this. This isn't something just given to you. You have to want this MLS fandom. So,
yeah, but is that the way it should be, though? It shouldn't be that difficult.
Of course, that's not the way it should be. The ease of access should never be easier than it is now in the modern world, with as many different opportunities and how easy it is to get a hold of things live. But the problem is that people put the season in a blender, hit pulse, and this is what we came out with now. And that means that sometimes the games are at weird times, sometimes they're on weird streams. But at the end of the day, I thought this was probably a more entertaining 3-4 days than any other 3-4 day stretch during MLS is back.
Okay, is that because your team won a soccer game? Is that maybe
the types of, unfortunately we had a couple 0-0 games, but we also had some crackers, dude. We had some really good ones. And I think the league is more entertaining when teams like Miami and the Galaxy are winning, when they're winless for 5 games. No one wants to watch winless teams.
It's incredible.
Okay, and MLS was smart by putting rivalry week first week back.
That is something I don't think I really had gotten my head around that. And look, I went over the schedule. I talked about it on my radio show.
You have a radio show?
I do have a radio show. I talked about the schedule and I recognized, okay, rivalry game. That was clearly calculated to try to juice people up, right? To get people going for this weird.
It's rough to have a rivalry game with no fans. That's rough, a little bit, but no, granted, I know Dallas
for the New York Red Bulls and NYCFC. Then when
okay, sorry, is that too much? Is that too much?
It's rough. Now Dallas was the Dallas game, the only game that attempted to have fans. Did any other games have fans this weekend? I'm not sure.
I don't believe so. I would trust Nicholas.
Miami had some cardboard fans.
Miami had cardboard fans. Everybody had TIFO, right? Nick, do you know of any fans anywhere else?
I'm only aware of it being in Dallas. There was not fans in Cincy, I can tell you that, but they did have TIFO.
Okay, and while
there's also no goals in Cincy.
While I love the FC Dallas fans, and I'm a fan of that team because of the young and sexy that they got throughout it, and I like Luchi Gonzalez as a soccer mind and a soccer coach, and he's a right fit for that. as much as I like Dallas, that Texas is the only place crazy enough to let fans in, right? The only place crazy enough.
I'm kind of surprised there's no Florida fans.
I think they're talking about it, but they haven't done
Of course they are.
it.
I think California's talking about it, which I think is ridiculous as well. But that's the one thing about having the altered reality, which I've been a fan of, the augmented reality, where you have fan noise over it, is that you don't really even pay attention whether or not there's fans in the stadium, or maybe don't even notice the fact there aren't at this point.
We're seeing word that Miami printed their tifo. That's from our friend Freddie in Orlando.
What does that mean? Instead of hand painted, is that like?
Yeah, I'm gonna. First of all, Freddie is an Orlando City fan, so let's keep his bias in mind if we're talking about Miami down the way, right? So I don't know. I know there was something. In fact, I actually was looking at a tweet from the Inter Miami account that says, "Hello, stadium debut tifo." It does look extremely. It looks.
It kind of has to be printed right now. Are you really going to put 50 fans into a room together and tell them to hand paint a piece of
about
canvas?
Your team, hell yes, man. No.
You said Dallas till you die. Did you mean it?
Well, that's what everybody said with the fans coming back, right? No, I see what you're saying. Like enclosed quarters with a social distancing requirements and face mask and everything else. Yeah, you can't. Maybe
that's a lot of tifos to fill up a stadium too. I mean, come on, print a couple. I got nothing wrong with you.
Well, I'm kind of curious how they did it, because it's huge. It's a massive tifo. It says where life begins. Now we can talk about the message. Where life begins and love never ends. La Familia, our football has arrived.
You can't put a paragraph on a tifo.
I thought it sounds more like it
sounds like a prologue. That's too much. It's like it should be coming. Is it written in Star Wars font and like it's slowly scrolling up the stands?
100%. If you see these words on the screen before a movie starts, you're in for a romantic couple of hours.
And then down the bottom, it has like a hyphen, Walt Whitman or something like that. Like he says quote.
Exactly. Like that's in Leaves of Grass.
What's the MLS player, the veteran retired MLS player that you would maybe have a team quote on a tifo? Like who would be a tifo. Like who's got the best sound bites?
So what you're saying is sort of like you always see that. Is it Shankly that always gets credited with like football isn't
Shankly? Is that Gio Cesar's nickname?
That's mean. Come on,
dude. The dude almost put it out of the stadium on a PK this weekend.
He did screw up his PK. What I was gonna say is it's always Shankly who gets credited with like football isn't life, it's more important than that, or something. Isn't life and death, it's more important than that, right?
Yeah, man. I almost feel like I feel like that Frankie Hayduck, like or it's like elbows high, Frankie Hayduck.
Like leave it all on the field, dude. Frankie Hayduck, right?
Every tackle has 2 feet. Dima Kovalenko.
If you're not breaking ankles, you're not playing ball. Dima Kovalenko.
Yeah, no, I just wonder like who's that most quotable. You know who's gonna be the first quote on a tifo? It's gonna be an owner. It's gonna be Matthew McConaughey.
Oh my God! I mean, the guy is he's on fire right now. Yeah. I mean, he doing shirtless Zooms with his people and all.
Who's got a beanie on in summertime in Texas, by the way?
So you brought this up. I'm thinking about, again, I mentioned Shankly because he's so famous, and you live at Liverpool. You've got all these figures. Obviously, Sir Alex Ferguson. There's probably like a billion quotes like of stuff he said that's so dotted around Old Trafford. I don't know, but really, because it's 25 years and everybody's still around. Like, if you wanted to say, okay, who's the MLS coach who has pull or legacy with his club the way that Shankly does, the way that Ferguson does?
The problem is they've changed too many different clubs. Ben Olsen's probably the only one that's like a quotable, like long-term, figure at an MLS club.
I was going to say that Bruce gets that kind of credit for DC United, but he's coached 2 different teams.
He gets that for Bay Galaxy too.
Yeah, sure.
I can see on a tifo, like it says like Optas for nerds, and it's like says Bruce Arena on it.
Guys, go out and play your best today. Remember Bruce Arena's famous quote, Optas for nerds.
What about Steve Nicol in New England? I'm sure he's quotable.
Oh, he's very quotable. Yeah, but I wouldn't know that was from him unless he had an accent.
He says strange things though, like Hey, get your loving buddy off the field.
Yeah, Bruce Arena is definitely quotable, but I mean, I associate him with the Galaxy more than DC United now, to be honest with you. But that's probably just me. I don't know.
No, you're right though. But I'm just thinking legacy, right? All the way back to the beginning.
Him with winning more than anything. I should say that.
But that means that you can't. Like I remember last year, he came with the Revs to Audi Field, and there was this whole debate about how Audi Field didn't have any of the history up in the rafters. You know, they didn't have Jaime Moreno, they didn't have Raul Diaz-Arce, they didn't have Bruce Arena, they didn't have any of this stuff. And it's like, what? Where's the history? Where's the product? And it's like, maybe Bruce was talking about himself. Maybe his ego was like, where's my.
By the way, shout out to Jaime Moreno. For people who don't know, the guy's going through a tough time right now. Had a really rough incident with a golf ball hitting him on the field. So if you guys are looking and you want to give to a good cause, there's I don't know if it's GoFundMe or how it was set up out there, but I know there's a foundation out there right now collecting money for Jaime Moreno, who's going through some really tough stuff right now.
Okay, so that aside and quotes and all of that, should we actually go through some of these results? And maybe if people want to chime in again, 717-727-BEST is the phone number. Jump in here and talk to us. And it again, MLS observations are probably the first thing, because now all these teams are coming back after MLS is back and after the results there. Jared, should we let's shine a light? Okay, let's do.
Can we make the rule that we don't talk about 0-0 games?
Well, that's cruel on who DC United. Nikki Soup and Sausage
Cincinnati.
in Cincinnati. Who else went blanks this weekend?
The other blanks this weekend were Houston, Dallas, Texas, shooting blanks.
Okay, yeah, and that's ironic because they're playing for that big ass cannon. They don't have any rounds in the chamber.
I guess it's a fake cannon.
Make any shots.
And then the other one's New England, Philadelphia. Speaking of Bruce Arena and Philadelphia Union, one of the hottest teams coming out of MLS's back, couldn't put up a goal against New England.
Yeah, you go 0-0 and you really don't get a lot of love. All right, so in that case, let's talk about the one goal, the 2 goals. Sorry, that your team scored. You did get 2.
Watch out now.
LA Galaxy taking down LAFC.
Could have been 4, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Either
Zubik somehow missed a 2-yarder.
And well, he also scored, so give him credit for that. First MLS goal. And then Sebastian Lletget, who, for a while there was way more effective in Instagram posts with Becky G than he was on the field with the LA Galaxy. I know, I love the man.
He's had a good couple of years, man. He lost a whole season to injury, man. But
he did.
I think they've moved his position around a lot. They've played him as a 10. They've played him as a winger. He's basically filled. He's played as an 8. Like he's basically filled whatever position is injured. And that's been a tough go of it. But I also think he's been one of the more consistent. His work rate's been fantastic.
What is he? I mean, what do you think?
If you're asking me, I think he's best as a box-to-box.
Okay, but does he give you enough defensively in an MLS setting for that?
Maybe I'm somewhat skewed because he's had to for the Galaxy for so long that I see him that way.
I don't think he covers. I don't think he eats up enough ground for that job. I really don't. I don't think he covers as much territory as you
like I said, I'm probably somewhat skewed by the fact he's had to for the Galaxy. And that's probably more part of the problem, to be honest with you. He's always being paired with Kitchen or Jonah Dos Santos.
Right. Well, we know Jonah Dos Santos is, a next level player in MLS in that position. Okay. And, Perry Kitchen is meant to be a stay-at-home 6, right? He's not going to do anything up the field at all. In fact, you don't want Perry Kitchen to have the ball if you can help it, to be honest.
So it's a hard thing. He's not a classic 10. I don't know that he's best served on the right. I think for the national team on the right, he's probably going to be his best position. I don't think that the way he plays in the middle is going to benefit. I don't think
he's ever played on the right for the national team, though.
He scored it in when he hurt himself at the Avaya Stadium. He was playing right wing, I'm pretty sure.
Was he? Okay, well, you have to go back and look. I kind of feel like he's one of those guys, one of the tweeners that gets pegged into one of those dual 8-10 rules. But he's not playing wide, right? Because you have a left forward in front of him who's living up there, and
it's very similar to the problem with like Mix Discarud like 6-7 years ago, where it's like he's not good enough to be he's not creative enough to be a 10. He's not, maybe doesn't have the pace and defense ability to play a 6.
No,
but he's good enough to play at the national team. But it's just, you don't know how. You don't know how to use him. And I don't think he's a starter.
No, he's a depth piece. He's a 20-minute guy when. So I think
the fact that he's playing 3 different positions for the Galaxy is why he's valuable at the national team level.
Sure, but you also wonder, and look, he did he has had a kind of one of those rocky roads to this, right? Like he was supposed to be the it kid at West Ham.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. He comes back. He joins the Galaxy. He's playing in Major League Soccer. Where did he come from originally? What team was he with originally?
I don't think it was MLC. I think he went from a youth team in the Bay Area right to West Ham.
Right to West Ham. Okay, that's what it was. And I'm missing a step. I'm thinking about somebody else who went from RSL. This is unfair to Sebastian Lletget to mix up the stories, but I'm thinking of somebody else. Anyway, he is just short, just a slight skill level below what you need as a 10 for the national team. And again, we don't play with the 10 anyway. We play with.
Here's the thing: Paxton Pomykal may be a better version of what we're going to what Sebastian Lletget is.
I think that's probably fair.
I think Leget's the better proven thing right now, and he's more ready for national team minutes. If you have to bring one of the two, but I think long term, Paxton Pomykal is probably the better version of that.
Okay, well then, I mean, and Sebastian Lletget's 27 now, 20 something like that,
somewhere in that range. Yeah, he's been with the Galaxy 6 years now, so I think that's puts him around 20.
Wow, he's been there for 6 years already. Time flies when you're old. Okay,
when you're hanging out with Becky G. But here's the thing: I'll say this: he made a lot of stuff happen in that game, but he's still the crazy thing is Carlos Pavone is the real deal at that team. Carlos Pavone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I got to pick your poison for you real quick in terms of the sexiness in MLS right now.
All right, hit me. Go ahead.
The sexier player you'd want on your team right now, from just like creativity standpoint.
Yeah.
Are you going with Pizarro? Or are you going with Pavone? Or Pity Martinez? I'll give you a three-way.
Wow. I mean, that's a thruple of
all three of those guys are massive this weekend.
Yeah, all three of them had great weekends. Pavone is younger than Martinez and Pizarro. I think Pizarro's the oldest out of that bunch.
He's like 27 or something like that. 20.
He's 25. I think Pizarro's 25.
I'm pretty sure Pavone's 21, 22, somewhere in that
21,
range.
22. Pity Martinez is the oldest. He's 27.
Okay.
So Pity Martinez is already kind of he's not going to get better. He might get a little bit
better than he was 2 months ago.
No. Okay, I'm saying he can reclaim the form he had in South America when he won South American Player of the Year. Okay, when he helped River Plate win at Copa Libertadores, he can do that. But I don't think he has like an extra level that he hasn't reached yet. I think Pity Martinez is just a very good player. He's elite level MLS at his best.
Yeah, and
that's great. But if we're talking about ceiling, Carlos Pavone has a higher ceiling than both of those other guys. And I like Pizarro too, but I think Pavone is game changing. Like you put the ball at his feet, and that's when everybody stops, right?
Yeah,
that's when everybody.
He's a number 10 from the wing. It's crazy the way he plays. The way when he cuts in, he's creating all sorts of stuff from the outside. He's just torching dudes left and right side. He switched the field a couple times, and it was torching. And this is LAFC. Granted, I am no fan of the crosstown rival of my home team, but
no.
They're the elite level in MLS for the last 365 days. You know?
Well, so the question I have about Carlos Pavone.
But unfortunately, this is Los Angeles. I need more than talent. I need stars.
Enjoy the party.
I
saw a rumor that the Galaxy weren't going to be able to keep him because the cost is too high. We kind of knew that. It's kind of looming over everybody's head with Pavone. Now, obviously, I think it was less of a concern because the Galaxy were crap, and why hold on to a $20 million player if you're going to be crap? Like you have other issues to care about. If they start playing well and they start getting down to the playoff season, and it looks like the Galaxy might even be in it for this thing in a weird year, well, then you have a bigger question about keeping Carlos Pavone or paying whatever it is that.
Especially when Chicharito has what Guillermo Barros-Schelotto describes as a broken muscle. I don't know what that means.
What is that?
I don't know what a broken muscle is. I think I've seen porn stars do that, and it looks painful.
No, man.
But no. I don't.
Jay Rodius.
We don't need to know that.
You can't take a 90-degree, man.
It's not a muscle. Okay, it's a whole different discussion, right? I don't know.
Work
maybe
it out.
Okay. I was going to say that the issue I have with Carlos Pavone in this situation and Chicharito Hernandez for that matter is, again, it feels like the Galaxy have 8 different things they're pulling at and not one idea of how to make it cohesive. Now, you said they played great against LAFC. And by the way, Bob Bradley is taking shots at his own club over that situation. Like,
he should, man. I'm going to say this. If you're going to be LA's team If
Yeah.
you want to be LA's team, you can't wilt in 100-degree heat. You can't. You got to be able to play in California weather. That team looked like it did not have the energy to play in that heat of that day.
Is that
And I watched them play in Florida. They didn't look that way in Florida.
is that what you call California weather? I thought you guys were like 85, 90, maybe with
This
the,
weekend, it was over 100, at least where
with the-
I was. I'm not sure what it is on Citibank Field or whatever the hell they call
with,
that
with
place
an
out
ocean breeze coming off the. I don't even know what you guys got. You're way far inland. You don't get any ocean breezes where you're
there.
at,
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm in the armpit of Southern California.
Here's what Bob Bradley said. We were terrible. I take responsibility because we didn't look like ourselves. We never found any rhythm. The game had no tempo. Do you do a Bob Bradley impression? You don't do a Bob Bradley impression, right?
Who says those things?
Who asked those questions? Let me.
Who asked those questions?
Throughout our history, we've always had a way to push games, play a certain kind of football. I love when he says that. I don't know. I think he oversteered into football, by the way. Bob Bradley was like, they got on me in England or in Wales because of the words I used. I'm going to go hard on football.
Yeah.
And today we didn't come close. We had so few guys who played the way they normally play. And he talked about the set piece, Dubak's
Listen, losing
opener.
Vela early, that hurts. It hurts to lose Vela early, but they were already, I think, 1 down, maybe even 2 down at that point. I can't remember when they got the second goal when the Vela injury was. But in addition to that, and here's the tough thing for LAFC fans: which Brian Rodriguez are you going to get on the day? You know, like there's a few guys out there that are world class on their side on their day. Brian Rodriguez's tournament and almost his back was fantastic, but it feels like, I mean, Blessing was getting torched by Pavone. Blessing's fast, and Pavone's just running by him. Mark Anthony Kaye was in his own 18 way too much.
Yeah.
They didn't have the ability, and Galaxy just seemed like they had more energy. It really looked like an energy
Well,
issue for LAFC.
maybe LAFC burned themselves out.
They played longer in the tournament. I mean, Galaxy had a bigger break.
When did so I caught parts of this game, not the whole thing. When did Vela come off?
I want to guess he was around, I think it was second half. It was second half. So I'm going to guess around 55, 60 minutes.
Yeah, it looks like 60 minutes. He got in 60 minutes before he came off. Now that's, it's an hour. It's most of the game. I was wondering, because they were talking a little bit about how with Vela in the game and Bradley Wright Phillips on the bench to start, right? That this created space issues and a lack of touches for Diego Rossi. So this is the fascinating thing
You've
about
already had 55 minutes to do that. You've had 55 minutes of Vela to try and achieve that. He injured himself eventually, but for 55 minutes, you couldn't find a way into this game.
No. But what I'm saying is, you played that whole MLS's back tournament. Now, you came up against it and you fell out of the tournament earlier than you wanted to. You didn't win it, but Rossi was fantastic. 7 goals, Golden Boot winner, young player of the tournament, all those things. You play with him as your key man, right? As your central figure in attack, with Vela at home, playing video games and taking care of his family. Good for you, Carlos Vela.
Yeah.
When you get back to it and Vela comes back into the team,
Better be sharp.
if he's sharp, fine. Maybe everything goes back the way it was. If he's not, and now everybody, because this is the thing about LAFC. When Vela's on the field, where's the ball go? It goes
into his feet. Feet.
Everybody's constantly looking. Like everybody's played in a team like that where there's one player who's so much better than everybody else, especially on the attacking end of the field. You look for. I'm not talking about playing through your number 8. I'm not talking about playing through a midfielder. I'm talking about when you get into the attacking third. Where does the ball go immediately? Everybody's
always into Vela's feet and everyone running past him to get the ball back.
Right.
Always. But I mean, in this game, you had Vela, Rodriguez, and Rossi all up front for this front 3. That's the 3 that's got to make the magic.
That's
and
what
they
they're
do
doing. Yes, but how many times have we seen in history you can put 3 stars together or multiple stars together, but if they don't know how to share the ball, and
Careful. Are you saying this team's better without Vela?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they obviously last year were incredible with Vela, but they had an idea of how to play with him that involved Diego Rossi. They just went a month playing games in Orlando where they didn't have Vela. They reconstituted everything so it was playing through Diego Rossi, a little bit through Rodriguez, but mainly through Diego Rossi. And then it's like you can't just go back to that, right? You can't like if you change up your technique, you get good at it. You can't go right back to the old technique and suddenly think that it's going to snap into place, right?
Yeah, and shout out to Araujo. Julian Araujo had a great game for Galaxy. That's the young sexy that everyone's been waiting to come up for a while. And then also shout out to Depew, the new signing of the rookie this year. It really held his own in that game. Odd that Andy Nahar's nowhere to be found. I'm not sure what his injury issues potentially is, but this is a guy who's supposed to play a big role in LAFC's back line and 4-3-3 movement. He's not starting. He's out on the bench. I don't know what where he's at fitness wise, but not anywhere in the lineup.
Okay, it's not all about LA. No matter what you think, when Jared starts talking about,
you brought it up.
I did. Atlanta United 2-0 winners over Nashville. This was the Pity Martinez show. He clicked in, and this is what we said before the program started tonight, Jared. That we on Wednesday on the last show we did, we talked about Brad Guzan throwing all kinds of shade at Frank de Boer. And by the way, Frank de Boer did an interview with Felipe Cardenas of The Athletic. I don't know if you're.
I did not hear it. No.
Okay, it was just a written interview, and Frank de Boer acted like he had no idea why things went wrong. I mean, the guy does not have any self-awareness. He's like, the culture is this, the culture is that.
I'll tell you where he did wrong, because obviously Pity Martinez didn't like playing for him. That dude looked like he was a dog taken off a leash.
Right. Yeah, and so now you have Frank de Boer out, and Pity Martinez in the first game he gets to play under somebody else. Looks like the man they paid all that money for. Yeah. Right. He looks like the South American player of the year, and he looked confident and he looked comfortable. And here's Pity Martinez is one of these guys, and there are a couple of players like this in the league. And I think maybe Carlos Vela is in the same category where they seem very not fragile. That's not the right word, because that's not fair, but they seem like the emotional part is a big part of their game, right? If they're not feeling good, they aren't good. Period.
But this is the problem it's also a team that's taken three or four, but they've taken 3 or 4 essential pieces out of their lineup over the last year. So you've taken a lot of your veteran presence and removed it from the team. Joseph Martinez, obviously that's through injury, but you take Gressel out. Nagby's no longer there.
Nagby's gone.
I'm sorry, the defender. Why am I blanking on the defender?
Gonzalez Perez.
Yes, Perez. I mean, these are big guys that were a part of your personality and your identity on the field. I don't think it's so much that they are. I don't see so much that they're moody. I just think they don't know who they are anymore. They have to start establishing that again.
Okay, it feels like Pete is a very emotional player, and he's a very emo player.
That's fine.
And that's I think there are players in the world like this, guys who are immensely talented that when it clicks for them can play with anybody. I mean, you could argue that on his best day, Pity Martinez should be playing in one of the top 5 leagues in Europe. I don't think that's a stretch, but he doesn't have those heights regularly enough because something goes wrong or it's a little off or whatever, and now he's not comfortable. And now he's
got to have 2% in his Cheerios that morning. Made him kind of sluggish.
What, I'm sorry. I don't understand the logic that you just dropped on.
He had to have 2% milk instead of non-fat milk, so he's kind of sluggish.
I see. All right. So Atlanta United 2-0 winners over Nashville. They're feeling good.
Pity Martinez goal, the banger from about 23 yards out is great. But how come he scores that goal and I see it everywhere? Krylak puts almost the exact same goal in for RSL, and I see it like nowhere.
Well, okay, maybe, but so Atlanta is definitely sexier, right? I mean, that's just the way that things are. I mean, I guess so. I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
I pity the Krylak.
No disrespect to RSL, but they're a small market team. They play out west. They don't have any stars. They certainly don't have any players who cost $20 million, do they? Am I missing anybody?
I mean, maybe if you put them all together. Not even then. I bet you not even then. Not even close then.
No. Brendan Murphy saying, talking Pity Martinez, who cares about him? Breck Shea debuted for Miami this past weekend, and they got their first win. Coincidence? No. The Breck is back, Jared.
I guess we can ride that train with Breck Shea. Did he start that game? No, he came as a sub on that game. So, I mean, maybe that's the talismanic player that they need in their lineup. I mean, I've always liked more Breck Shea in my life, but
did you expect that game to deliver 5 goals?
Maybe if it was like 5-0 Orlando. I didn't expect 3-2 to Miami, but it was the Pizarro and Carranza show. I mean, those two guys together, if that's how those two dudes are going to play together, this might be what we talked a few episodes back, maybe a few months ago, about what happened to the duos in MLS. Like since Dempsey and Martins, there hasn't really been those duos. this looked like a duo to me, man. If these two
Right.
guys can play like this,
Well, it
it'll
has
be
to be.
entertaining.
That's the thing, though. It has to be. It's not going to be a couple of forwards playing together anymore. Or if it is, it's a 4-3-3, and we're talking about a wide player. Like it could be Rossi Vela. That's a hell of a duo.
Yeah,
You can throw that in
Yeah.
there.
but they've got to. I guess Rossi last year's season was pretty good. I was thinking more Brian Rodriguez doesn't show up. Rossi showed up all last year, so that's fair.
Yeah. But it's a different kind of dynamic now, right? Because the tactics have changed. We're not playing 4-4-2s anymore. You're not big man, little man.
Yeah,
strike
there was the
combination.
Dempsey Martins, there was the Donovan Keens. There,
But those guys all, like, that's what I'm saying. They all played as forward pairs.
Yeah.
Who plays a 2-man front line now? Nobody.
I don't know that you have to be a 2-man front line, but you need to be the two highest players in the 3-man line. You know, that I think that's what we're talking about here.
I don't think Pizarro is that player. I think he's obviously he's more of a Javinko who was playing as a forward technically, I guess, for Toronto FC during their best run.
Yeah.
But he and Altidore. That's one of the great players in Major League Soccer history too. But he's playing as a forward who can drop in as effectively the most advanced midfielder, but doing both things. That's kind
Henry
of
and Wright Phillips. That was a great pair.
that was a great pair. Sure. There's been a couple like that.
But I just feel like lately it hasn't been on the. So I'm really excited to see two guys like this that look like they are on exactly the same page as each other. And I wouldn't have picked Carranza to be the standout player in that. I still think Pizarro overshadowed him with everything else he did on the field.
Yeah.
But Carranza gets, was it the brace in that
That's it.
game, I believe?
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Are they best friends now? It's going to push Miami.
I don't
forward.
care, man. As long as they score goals, that's what
If-
all that matters.
If there is a pair of players who come to the fore together in Miami for Inter Miami, are we allowed to call them Crockett and Tubbs, or can we not do that?
Man,
We already talked about how David Beckham and James Corden were dressed up doing silly
Call 'em
Miami Vice stick.
like Cuba and Libre,
Cuba,
like they're a detective team called Cuba and Libre.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I just like the first couple of seconds of that.
Hey, by the way, shout out to Pizarro for his goal celebration, going and celebrating with the fans.
I mean, he didn't break any local health guidelines when he did that. And you said something on before the
that
show.
fan, that fan didn't have a mask on either. I don't know about that.
You said something there like, did they go find the fan? Like who's
Yeah,
that?
I mean, like, who's
fan?
that kid? I want to know who that kid was. Where's my feature piece on MLS Soccer Is Now, or whatever their site is called, about like what's the story with this little kid?
When are we going to be? Yeah. So
He's
when
the
we go-
first piece of Miami lore. There's been no Miami lore till now. That kid's
No.
lore.
What is the lore? Was Beckham in the building? Did he fly in? Was he not allowed to? Are they doing quarantine? I don't know how that. Is David Beckham subject to the quarantine laws of any nation, or does he get a free pass?
Come on,
That's what I need to know.
That virus, he's too hot for that virus,
The
man.
virus
That-
can't touch
viruses
him.
can't take that heat.
It's incinerated upon contact.
Oh, come on, guys. Like, he's so more further evolved than the rest of us.
Yeah, no problems there for David Beckham when it comes to the
The only
coronavirus.
way- I don't think, but I don't think you can tie down a stallion that hot. You know,
Pizarro hitting the post as well at one point in that game.
and
Just
from the chat, someone saying Breck Shea's first touch was the most Breck Shea thing they've ever seen. So I guess I didn't get to see all the Breck Shea-ness. I didn't get to watch every minute of that one, but was there any hair change? That's what I'm most concerned with.
this is the thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the most Breck Shea hair in Inter Miami's team is Rodolfo Pizarro. It's the most Breck Shea hair.
I kind of want him to do something about that, man. I'm not a fan.
You're not on board.
You
with
know
the-
me. I like some good. Like, I want you to have flavor. But
that's the wrong flavor.
here's my issue with it.
It's like Guy Fieri flavor. Like don't put
I
that
just
on
think
there.
it's at the point where the tip should be cut off, man. Because anytime you look at like an ice cream cone that's been dipped in chocolate, like the chocolate's on top, not on the bottom. You know, like you can't have the vanilla on top and the chocolate on the bottom.
It's like one of the Japanese sticks with the chocolate on them. What's that called?
Pocky?
Pocky? It's kind of like that, right? Like it's got that,
Pacquiao.
it's got that. I think that's what it has to be now. It has to be Pacquiao, Rodolfo Pacquiao.
But listen, I think fantastic result for Miami. I think this league is more entertaining if Miami is doing well. I think one of the things that we're going to miss out this season, though, is that we're not going to know if the fans are going to show up for Miami or not. And that's one of the things that we talked a lot about in the formation and the lead up and the creation of this team, is that Miami had their shot,
Mhm.
Didn't do so hot back in the
Mhm.
96 to 98 range, 99, and were folded. And everyone's felt like it's been a black eye on the leagues ever since. And the big question was, are they going to show up? And they're getting a free pass their first season.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about that. I really wanted to track that.
Yeah, Shaden saying Breck went to Flavortown. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And so did Rodolfo Pizarro, apparently. They all went to Flavortown.
Yeah, Breck Shades does the diners and divers. I'm not sure he's got the dash anymore, though.
No. That one's not. I'm not gonna let that one. As the president of Old Dad FC, I'm not gonna let that one.
Oh, I
slip
heard you
by.
got a sponsor for Old Dad FC.
No, I don't have a sponsor. I think we need
Oh.
to negotiate over the potential sponsor for Old Dad FC, and I am a shirt sponsor. I need frontage. Okay,
Mm.
I want to know what the sponsor for Old Dad FC should
What's
be.
the most Old Dad FC kit sponsor there could be? Is that
No,
the question?
You had an idea earlier today. Well, you shot me over something, and you mentioned something, and I was like, I reacted kind of negatively inside my head. I didn't tell you this.
As you often do to the things I said.
What did you say? You said Old Spice. Is that what you
Old
said?
Spice, man. That's the most old man smell there is.
This is
What
what
do
I'm
you
thinking.
associate with your dad and grandpa, dude?
But this
Old
is what
Spice.
this is what I'm saying. That's the old dad, old man stuff of a previous generation. Like we need to
minted before us.
We
Okay.
need to update our old dad references. Like, what is an old dad thing that's more?
So
recent?
what is our old dad thing? Like what is old dad now? Is what you're saying?
Yeah,
that we're-
basically, what is old dad now versus
Oh,
what
man.
was
Brought
old
to you
dad?
by New Jack Swing.
Hey, don't hate on my. Actually, I
Brought to you by Tekken.
I was thinking
Uh,
about this today. Now we would know, we mentioned this already in the Patreon, JD and the Rod, patreon.com, JD and the Rod, and the Slack. We were sharing all sorts of playlists. People sharing all. There was an emo music discussion we referenced.
man.
I mentioned that my kid is into swing music right now on the bonus show, and you hooked him up with this swing playlist of Benny Goodman and
Well, I gave him a little bit of everything. I gave him new stuff and old stuff.
there was
'cause I
some Brian
wasn't sure what
Setzer
he
on there
wanted.
and stuff like that too. But I was thinking about music today because I got an Alexa and I could ask her to play some stuff. And
Mhm.
today my wife was like, I want to listen to Mark Anthony. So we listened to some Mark Anthony today because that's, that speaks to her. And look, I will listen to
Couldn't name him Mark Anthony. so-
I will listen to the current rap hits on Spotify. I do enjoy that stuff. Like
Okay.
there's a song called right now called Rockstar. It's
That's
my
not
jam.
very old dad SC.
No, it's not. But I also find myself, and I wonder what the brain thing that happens is, shifting to older stuff that predates me. And I remember my dad would constantly have like the 50s oldie station on in the car, and he didn't grow up in the 50s.
Yeah, he grew up in the 70s
He
or
grew up in the
60s. Right?
60s and 70s. Like he was
Yeah.
way too young for that, but he always played it. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, I would love to hear some 70s R&B. So I'm listening to like Lovely
Earth, Wind, and
Day.
Fire.
Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and some
Commodores.
Yeah, absolutely. Did we just jinx on Commodores?
Did we just become best friends?
We just,
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
yeah, like that. And I loved it. I was walking around the house, working on my
what's
house.
your shirt sponsor?
I don't know. Like that's.
I thought I thought you had something at the end of this, man. I thought of it though. I thought of it while you were doing your long-winded 70s rant.
Don't hate on that. Go ahead.
New Balance.
You know what that is, and I hate it because I don't like New Balance. I can't stand New Balance. You know what? Maybe it should be. And I'm wearing a Phoenix Rising shirt. People can't see it on the podcast. I'm wearing a Phoenix Rising shirt right now. This is from Macron, who is, I think, makes some shirts for some pretty big teams around the world. But don't you feel like it needs to be like an old school soccer brand that isn't quite in favor anymore?
Oh, Lotto?
Yeah, like a Lotto or a Kappa. I mean, they can be front.
No, you can't go Kappa. They do those tight things, man. The old dad SC can't have no tight gear. It's gotta be loose fit.
But tight with the belly. That's not a move that I can make. I see.
Oh, come on, guy. We gotta have some room to grow. And so now you mentioned Phoenix Rising. I gotta tell you a story I never told you about when I was at my beach house this summer, and I went and went out into the wastelands and had a beach week. The people that rented the house next door to us. First of all, they were like the Wonka factory. No one ever went in, no one ever went out. All of a sudden, you wouldn't see them all day. Then around sundown, they all come out. There was like 20 of them, and they would just come out. But the dad comes out in a Phoenix Rising shirt with a Drogba name and number on the back. So I'm thinking, this is my chance. Like I can make some small talk with a random dude about something like
make friends today.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like, so I was like, oh.
friends.
So I caught his eye when I was like, Drogba, huh? He's like, huh? I said, yes, your Phoenix Rising shirt with Drogba and big. He goes, oh yeah, I don't know who that is. I got this shirt for free somewhere. I was like, dang it, man. That's where we're at in American soccer, man. He didn't even know who Drogba was.
Oh, that's so harsh. It is.
This is like when they give Super Bowl gear for free to Africa or something like that. You know, like all the losing team gear went out there. Like this dude picked up a Drogba shirt at the thrift store.
So, since you're bringing up international topics, I mean, I know you know Drogba from his European days and from his American soccer days. Côte d'Ivoire. I know you're not into European soccer right now, so I want to be the first one to say,
football?
Jared, on this, yes, football on this show. Congratulations to Canada for winning the Champions League today. Congratulations.
Oh, I forgot
Canada.
that was going on today.
You did it, Canada. Hooray for you.
Totally didn't watch the game.
I
Didn't even think about it until you mentioned it.
I'm kidding a little bit, but Bayern Munich did win the game 1-0. Alphonso Davies started with 90 minutes. He was very, very good in that game. You can argue. I mean, there was some, how much of it was it he kept Mbappe quiet or Mbappe was just bad? Neymar was not great either. So there's a lot going on there. I suppose I expect that that these players play for Paris Saint-Germain, right?
Oh yeah, I know those players. I'm savvy with like European soccer, but I'm just not interested in it. Like I literally spent my day cleaning my house. I went and got Zelda Breath of the Wild for my kids so they have a game to play. I didn't even think to watch it.
I love that stance. I know all about that shit. I just don't care about that shit.
if Gio Reyna was playing in that game, I would have been appointment television for me. Okay. What does it got to do with me? What's that got to do with me?
I don't know. Alphonso Davies he was in an MLS.
What's that got to do with me?
Okay, it doesn't.
Play for Galaxy. What's it got to do with me?
Oh, that's certainly true. That's actually an interesting question, right? So, it was Bayern Munich and Alphonso Davies, Canadian by way of Vancouver. So you didn't have a dog in the fight in this situation. Sure. But there
was a guy named Dubois on the PSG team, though, probably, right?
No, I don't think there's any Dubois on the PSG.
Then it was on the Lyon team, though.
No, that guy works in the catering. There's
a Dubois on one of those two French teams. I saw it.
Okay, maybe he plays for Marseille or Lyon or something. Probably Lyon.
Nick, let me know.
Let him know about the Dubois. Yeah, okay. What I was gonna say though is, we at the point now where American soccer fans who have a team, who have an MLS team, are they going to be rooting? Like, so let's say that Leipzig had made the final and Tyler Adams is in there. You would have cared. You would have, even though he's not from your team. He's not your boy in any particular
history. Could be made. The first American Champions League winner.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, wait, did Karofsky get a medal?
Oh, he might have got a medal.
I think he got a medal.
He might have a medal. Question. United. Yeah.
By the way,
I'm not mentioning Bayer Leverkusen, I believe.
First North American from Canada to the United States.
Was it Dortmund or Leverkusen? Who was he playing for when was it Dortmund?
Yeah, I think it was Dortmund.
I can't remember which one of the two. It was a good German team, though.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not trying to steal Alphonso Davies' thunder, by the way. I'm not going to get into that.
Congratulations to him.
The list of CONCACAF players who won a Champions League is short enough that it doesn't really matter. It's Rafa Marquez. It's Keylor Navas. It is
Navas don't count.
Navas doesn't count?
Goalie.
Oh, oh my God. You're like throwing up oh no.
That's like Chicharito's Europa medal. I mean, come on. Like
we've literally talked about this on this show. Like it's literally come up.
Eddie was American goalie, it count, but they don't count. It's a Costa Rican goalie.
Eddie, what have you done for me lately?
Eddie has literally called us up and debated.
This is like Beetlejuice. I said Keylor Navas 3 times. He's gonna call, right?
I don't know what he might be watching Costa Rican soccer right now and tweeting about it angrily and yelling at people about.
Wasn't Navas on PSG today?
Yeah. He started for PSG. Yeah, so of course Eddie out ahead of that game was like, "Don't come at me with that weak whatever about the best player."
So what I learned from this then is Canada is better than Costa Rica today, correct? That's what I learned. And both better than the USA. Better than the USA.
Why are you trolling the hell out of Eddie right now?
I don't know, dude. Just sometimes I say things. I don't know what they mean.
Okay. Well, so you would be all in for Tyler Adams in the final because he's an American and he plays for the national team, right?
Absolutely.
That's your line. Okay, that makes sense.
If 2020 America has taught me nothing else, it's that nationalism is good. So I'm anything that is American, I am for.
Okay, because I'm wondering, like, when do we cross that line, club versus country, and all that stuff? Like, I think people are trending. This is the thing about.
I think up to 2016. Up to 2016, American soccer fans were firmly country over club. Firmly,
yeah,
country over club, because that was the gateway for almost every MLS fan or American fan that we talk to in our bonus shows and our Slack, or just the people that call in. World Cup, American team, that's the gateway. We missed the World Cup and it flipped. It flipped so fast. I think so many fans are club over country now.
I think it was happening before that. And I do think missing a World Cup obviously like amplified that effect, right? Or made it more of a thing because you didn't have a national team, if you're American, to root for in the World Cup. But I also think that it's just a natural thing from MLS becoming more entrenched. And like it just because of the time that has passed, because especially in these expansion cities, especially in Atlanta, especially in I don't know, a couple of the places where the tribalism is thick on the ground, Jared. It's us versus everybody.
What you're saying is that people in Atlanta are less patriotic than other cities.
That's exactly what I'm saying. No, of course not. I don't think it's about patriotism. I think it's just about now I have something that I can identify with that's closer to home. That first of all is in the case of Atlanta, it's a winner, right? In the case of some of these teams, they actually have things to like Portland, Seattle. Why wouldn't you be club over country when your team wins, when your team puts trophies in the trophy case, Jared?
But what does that even mean, club over country? What does that mean? That if the two were playing on a day, you're watching your club team instead of the country? What does that mean?
I think it means, except for the World Cup, you just don't give
We've got 2 or 3 people in the chat right now saying that they're club over country. I dare you to call 717-727-BEST and tell me what that means. What does that mean to you? They're 2 different things. Why does it have to be one or the other? I never understand that. Why does it have to be one or the other?
Right. I mean, I'm not in a position to talk about this from the club perspective at all. I just not a thing that I can really do.
You shut your mouth.
I really couldn't tell from all the scarves on your wall that you have no club team that you support.
I root for all of these teams, Jared. I root for American.
I feel like a movie, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, when they look at what's his name. He goes, all your tattoos conflict. You're not a citizen of the world. It means that you're a fool. Like none of these things go together. That's Hindu, that's Chinese.
Right, pick a lane, right? Sort of like that. No, but I do obviously, I've been doing podcasts with you and radio and stuff for 10 years, so I've seen that evolution. And I think it's just that clubs have done it. The OG MLS clubs, they did except for a couple of examples, maybe LA because of the winning they did under Bruce and that kind of stuff. Landon and Robbie Keane and all of that. Yeah, is an exception. But generally speaking, the old school MLS teams did a crap job of connecting with communities and actually making people feel like they had something to root for. And part of it was the league was not good, right? The quality was good. And there was no Beckham and there were no superstars. And what were you going to root for? You're going out to an NFL's. As soon as MLS clubs started building their own joints, it felt like something you could get behind, right? It felt like something you should adopt rather than like, oh, the kids are bored on a Saturday. Let's go watch it. Let's go watch the MLS team at the football stadium. Like that doesn't feel like something you can connect to.
The only thing that makes sense to me in the club over country thing is when the national team calls up your player from your club and they're going to miss a game or their potential injury risk. That's the part to me. Okay, I get club over country when it comes to that, but that's also your club over any country as well, because it's often not your own country that's pulling these players out. So I guess you're saying club football over country football in general, not particularly your club in your country.
Well, I think it depends on what the situation is, right? And obviously, Major League Soccer has created a problem for themselves because they haven't treated international breaks like they matter, right? They played through a lot for most of their history. MLS was like, "What? You guys are going off to international duty? Let's play 5 games." Like it was dumb because it chopped away at the integrity of the league. And I know Major League Soccer is going to have to make some serious choices about that, because fans are going to get pissed off and they're going to say, whatever, I'm not.
So it's probably fair to say then that MLS puts this in play more than any other league because of their resistance to adopting the international.
You know how it gets expressed in most places, like in England, when I see Arsenal fans or United fans or whatever, when they're talking about, it's not that they don't want England to win a World Cup. That obviously would be great for them if they're English. But what they say is, oh, the break, man, this sucks. Now I can't see my team play because everybody's going off to play international soccer, and I don't give a crap about that. And also, please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. And that's everybody across every country, right? Not just Englishmen. They have players from other countries, and that's the thing. Like,
this take from Shaden in the chat says, club pays your salary. If the national game was played more frequently, then I think it would be different.
No, that's the dynamic for the women, right? Because there's not a strong enough women's club game, or there hasn't been historically, everything leads to the countryside. And they really don't have I mean, I know there are Spirit fans and Thorns fans and Reign fans and whatever, but that has only just, it's like the beginning for NWSL women's soccer.
So because the women's the best women's player in NWSL are being paid by the club, the country, not the club.
Yeah.
Is that not an issue then? They're their player.
Well, it is
the
an issue.
national team's player.
Here, I'll give you an exact reason why it is an issue. It's an issue because the national team players who are in NWSL have so much power because they are recognized as the stars because they help sell that league that they can basically get whatever they want, right? It's Alex Morgan getting traded to Orlando so she could be near Savando Carrasco. It's now this is happening right now. Crystal Dunn is about to go to Portland. I don't know if it's official because her husband is a trainer with the Thorns and she wants to be out with him, obviously.
Well, let's also say that she's a great player for Portland as well. It's not the only reason Portland would be trying to get her.
Portland will want, of course, Portland wants Crystal Dunn because she is a fantastic player. But what I'm saying is that North Carolina probably doesn't want to get rid of Crystal Dunn. Maybe they want to keep Crystal Dunn. Yeah. Paul Riley's like, what? No, I need her. But she wants to go to Portland because that's where her husband. And by the way, this happens in the men's game, especially in Major League Soccer, where Darlington Nagbe is a good example. And by the way, we skated right past Darlington Nagbe's goal.
Oh my God! Oh baby!
Yeah, I have to drop that in. I know this is very ADD, whatever. We're all over the map. But Darlington Nagbe deserves some love. But he's an example of this happening too, right? He told Atlanta, and maybe there was money on the table issues, but he told Atlanta, I want to go back home. They worked out a trade. They probably didn't get anything. They didn't probably get near what they wanted for him, but they got something close. And it's in the best interest of the league and Columbus and Atlanta to figure that out. It's true on the women's side, but it's exacerbated, right?
Landon Donovan did it to get back to LA as well. I mean, he went to Germany through Germany to do it, but left San Jose, ended up in LA. Is it make your league small time if you do these types of things though? Because you don't hear about this in baseball and basketball and football
Well, you do occasionally hear about trades that the league is
that's lifestyle based
involved in occasionally, but yeah, you're not the same way. Definitely not the same way.
I mean, if a player leaves, it's because they're not happy and they say, and no one wants to keep an unhappy star on their team. So maybe we don't always know the reason behind things. They just say a player's not happy anymore, something like that. Yeah. But it's rare you hear it where you know the personal reasoning behind it. I don't know, but I find that it's an interesting and complex issue at the NWSL level because you can't say the club is paying for the player when they go to the national team. They're not. The national team is playing for a lot of these players. Yeah, there's another example right now in the NWSL is Kelly O'Hara trying to get her way to DC, plays in Utah, and that's a personal reason thing too. And again, I'm not taking shots at the players who want to be near their family, near their significant others, their loved ones, of course. But obviously, no rank and file NWSL player can go to her club and say, "Hey, my husband, my girlfriend, my whatever it lives in whatever city. Can you please trade me there?" And the team's gonna be like, "Okay, sure, why not? We'll try." But no, just wait. Alex Morgan will be the first signing by the Angel City once it
probably
happens.
Yeah. The NW, and you know what? Again, it's in the best interest of the NWSL probably to have Alex Morgan in LA. Like, why would you want that?
Diamond Bar Zone. I claim her as Inland Empire, by the way, as IE too. But
nobody knows the geography of any of what you're talking about except for like 4 people.
Those 4 people, they know I'm right.
Okay, well, where is it? How far away is it?
It is. All you need to know is that Diamond Bar is east of Kellogg Hill. That's to me the dividing line.
That doesn't mean anything.
It's roughly 30 minutes east of LA.
Okay.
30 to 40.
Yes. All right. Diamond Bar is closer to LA than you are. Is that right?
LA County, but because they're east of Kellogg Hill, I claim it.
I don't know what that means.
You don't. The people that need to know.
Okay. I mean, I know. All I know is
one day we're gonna get Moa doing here, and I'm gonna get his take on whether or not I can claim Alex Morgan as IE.
Can you guys just like rename each one of these areas that all bleed together into one, whatever that is?
Inland Empire. That's what we call it.
Could you rename them by the people I know?
Whatever. You live in a place called the DMV.
Can you please rename it Landon Donovan? Whatever, Donovanville, maybe that would work out for me. Where's he from again?
He claims Redlands, but he's from Ontario.
So you already got beef with him.
I got beef.
Why do you? Okay, so why?
Until he's 12, he lived in Ontario. Then he went into at 12. He went to Redlands and played high school in Redlands and claims Redlands because I think that's where his family still lives.
So which one of those places should be named Donovanville then? Redlands or Ontario?
Ontario should be called Coimanville.
Okay, Ontario should because he was the original. He was before.
That's right, Clay Coiman,
Yeah.
baby. You always got to recognize
Okay, and Carlos Bocanegra, where is he from?
Altaloma. So that's Carlos Taloma.
Carlos Taloma. All right, I don't want to do all this Inland Empire geography. That's not what we were here for. We had a question that was posed to us, and I think
Go
it
for it.
is it was about Real Salt Lake. The fact that they've had a number of players who have been through their system, who have ended up in other places, not in RSL's first team, Jared. This is a problem Major League Soccer has, that it's done a good job of developing some players in certain spots. Certain clubs have put in money, certain clubs have put in resources. They've done a good job, but holding on to those players has been a problem. So Richie Ledesma, Sebastian Soto, Taylor Booth, and Zach Booth have all left RSL on freeze to go to Europe. And this is a club, this is one club, but you can throw Weston McKennie into this mix because he's a player that left FC Dallas for free. Giovanni Reyna left NYCFC for free. They didn't get anything for him.
Yeah.
So how does Major League Soccer fix this? How big of a problem is it?
Giannis as well. That was a Galaxy product in Giannis. I don't know because they're under 18. That's the thing. We just don't seem to have the setup to be able to claim rights to players that are not adults. And I'm not sure how the rest of the world sets it up where they can and we can't.
I think at 16 you can sign a contract maybe with parental consent or something like that, and we just don't. But at the same time, like obviously it's not like kids don't do work here, right? So for example,
I was a dishwasher at a spaghetti joint at 16.
Okay, that was not. I was 16 bagging groceries. I'm not talking about that. Okay, I'm not talking about non-contract hired. I'm talking about you've got an industry. How far away is LA? An hour and a half, whatever.
45 minutes.
Okay. Hollywood's like this, whatever that is. You've got an industry there in Southern California where kids are doing work all the time. They're not on contract. Of course they're on contract. It's not like these kids are working sitcoms and not on contracts. So why can that industry do it?
I think because the sporting industry in the US has never been one where you've had professionals that are under 18. It doesn't happen in other sports in America. I mean, remember when Kobe Bryant and Kevin Garnett came out at 18? That was a huge deal. That didn't happen before. College, you have a mandated 2 years of college or 20 years old, whichever one you hit first, before you can come into the NFL. Major League Baseball, they don't let you till you get out of high school as well. We just don't have a sports industry where this is the thing. So I just don't think we have the infrastructure, and it's going to be on soccer to create it.
Well, I mean, I guess it's not about necessarily a contract, right? It's about rights. It's about, okay, do we have the ability to sell a player?
But that's what I'm saying. We're all effed up on this, Jason, because as a college player, you have no rights. As a college sporting athlete, you don't have rights. So why would you have them when you're 16?
I don't know. I think obviously Major League Soccer has to find, because the problem here, the nuts and bolts problem is that Major League Soccer's incentive for developing players is less because they can walk at 18, right? Look, they've done a decent job in some places. RSL's one of them. They've gotten some of these kids through. Yeah. Obviously, FC Dallas. Obviously, Philadelphia is signing up Paxton Aronson and Brendan Aronson.
The way they've worked, they got him to the team first. So
well, this is what I'm saying. So Paxton Aronson, and by the way, they signed contracts. Paxton Aronson, he's on a contract as a homegrown player with Philadelphia. It's not like that contract doesn't exist.
That's an internal thing, though. That's not an external thing.
What I'm saying is that's the only way to ensure that you are going to get something if the kid ends up in Europe, right? It's to sign them as a homegrown player. So Major League Soccer doesn't have enough incentive for these teams to sign them, or there's not enough roster spots or whatever. And I don't even think that homegrown players count as senior level roster spots. So I don't. Again, why is it on the club to say
if you could make one change to start the trend of fixing this? What would be the change that you would make?
Man, I don't know. Maybe a homegrown salary pool that's separate from everything else, because a part of this is that Ledesma and Soto, these guys all know they're going to go make more money right away as soon as they turn 18 to go sign.
And it's a tough thing for a club team. So you're saying, club team, you need to go pay $100,000 right now a year to sign this 15-year-old and have him on your roster. Yeah. So you could potentially make $5 million down the road. But how many never get there? And how many do you fall by the wayside where are you making money? Yes or no?
No, you're right. There's some risk there. But and also you can't make a kid sign a contract, right? You can't tell a kid.
You can also
have
tell them
to
not to play in your system if they don't want to.
Man, is that what we want to do? Hey, if you're not going to sign a contract with us, you got to get out of here.
This ain't like a charity, Like
But I mean, like, but at the age of 18,
these clubs are investing in them and getting nothing back.
Yeah. I don't know how much of this is just on the club to figure it out. We're gonna have to leave this and ask people to respond. Hit us up on Twitter at Bestie Soccer, on Instagram at The Best Soccer Show. Let us know what you think about all of this. We got a hard out tonight for various reasons, so we're gonna wrap this up. Jared, anything else to finish up with before we go?
All they want to say is keep an eye on those Americans abroad. A lot of things happening. Anthony Robinson potentially moving. McKinney still out there. A lot of things going to be happening. So keep an eye on that transfer market.
Make sure you hit us up on Apple Podcasts with the reviews. We're going to start getting those on the air and on the bonus shows and stuff like that, so you can so we can give you some feedback, or we can get your feedback on the show. Ratings, reviews, all of that. I don't think I'm missing anything else.
We'll be live Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.
9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Do the math in the other parts of the country that Jared doesn't care about. You can just figure that out on your own. Where
There's
Nick
more time zones than that?
Nick is in the Eastern time. I never remember where Ohio is. He's nodding. It's the Eastern time zone. That's why he has to go, because it's
But he's in the Midwest, right?
He is in the mid. Yeah, I know. It's confusing. it's like Inland Empire geography is extremely confusing. All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk to you on Wednesday night. Bye.
Damn, dog, that's an approach.
What have you done for me lately? Get to the chopper! Who asked those questions? Who asked those questions? You got to coordinate. Yeah?
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
I wouldn't be caught dead in a sweater vest.
Michael freaking Oscar
Duh, and or hello.
What? We just become best friends. Yep.
Jay Rodius.